according as his divine power has given to us all things that pertain to life. Or is it my English? Okay, this is old English. Sometimes it's difficult to understand. Can we have a new translation? New Living Translation, American Bible? By his divine power, God has given us everything we need for living a godly life. That is a life that you will not be forced to fornicate. Yeah, I was never forced to fornicate because by the time the feelings came, I had a wife. But some of you are 32. And the feelings are piling up. You are already developing lizards. New American, I'm preaching in English. New American Standard Bible. Seeing that his power, divine power, has granted to us everything. Everything. The wig, the shoes, the car, the watch, the job, the promotion in the job, all have been provided. But you see, it's been 4 years now since you had a promotion in your office. Because somebody must speak to that man. And that person would have been the father of a friend of a convert of yours. The father of a friend of a convert of yours. So because that person is not in your life, certain things God has already given freely are not known to you. So for most of you here, this verse is a lie. This cannot be true. If there is ever, they say that, there's only one lie in the, only one verse in the Bible is not true. Is this one? This one is not true. By this time, you shouldn't need a husband. You shouldn't need a wife. Look, I know people where they are staying is because of outreaches they did. Yes. I know somebody, the car he's driving. I can go on and on and on. My dear friend, listen to me very carefully. God is asking you not to just sit in the church, but go out there and catch some wild animals and bring them. Everyone. It's not just evangelists who must go. And I'm telling you, look, don't feel too pretty, too educated, too handsome, too rich. Because if God is the one sending you, then there must be a need ahead of you you don't know about. There must be a need ahead of you. And that's why we sit in the church with needs which should have been. See, that's why I told you last week about the grace. Did I show you the grace? Our grace. The grace of our Lord. Can you put it up? The grace we share when we are closing. And we are about to close very soon. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, the communion. This is what we say in this church. The communion, fellowship, contribution, the participation of the Holy Spirit. This is how we part. That's how we say goodbye. And the 25,000 children of God in this church, we are looking for 25,000 children. And it's not because we want a mega church. Why? Because, you see, the most important part of this is rather in parentheses, which includes all the important people for my life. The people who must be the providers of your life should be in this church. That when you get born again, you shouldn't be chasing your former boyfriend for a job. The important people for your life. should be in this church. Oh, but you see, because you haven't brought somebody, sometimes the person you bring will not play any role in your life. But because you brought someone who will be important to someone, somebody will bring someone who will also be important to you. Yes. But if you did not bring anybody, you look, I have been in church long enough to know about businesses of church members which have collapsed because they couldn't find the right person. In fact, it's got so serious that there was a time, if you wanted to employ somebody in the church, or you wanted to employ somebody, you didn't want to employ a church member because the church members were the worst workers. Worst. Why are they the worst workers? They are the worst workers for you. Yeah, because somebody will not go and bring someone. You haven't brought somebody, and you will just come and harvest a worker in the church. It's not like that. God is not mocked. God is not mocked. I'm preaching. I know I'm preaching. You see this big church? Some of you girls may never get a husband in this church. Never. You may get a husband at a funeral. Or if you get one here, he will be a ragamuffin, a rascal in this church. Why? Why? Who should go and bring somebody? You haven't brought anybody for someone to benefit from. Who should go and bring somebody for you to enjoy? It's not like that. But you don't know, the last few weddings we've had in this church, the people found themselves in the church. Center service, outreach, whatever. Yeah. There's a girl sitting there who wants a husband. That husband she's looking for should have been brought by you. My story is rare. Where, like, the one who won me married me. It's rare. Because I am my wife's convert. She won me to the Lord. And it will be some 10 years later on that we will marry. 10 years. It's not common. Most of the time, we bring someone that someone benefits from, and somebody also brings someone that you will benefit from. But if you don't bring anybody, you block yourself to the right people for your life. You will only enjoy the ragamuffins. And there are plenty of them. You mean crooks? Christian crooks? They are here. This church has enough crooks to meet your need. This church has got enough wild girls to meet your need. One brother had a wedding Saturday. Sunday morning, they came to church, did the greeting, presented themselves. After church, the brother said, I must see. He told the pastor, I want to see you. I would like to have a meeting with you. Please. So, but you want to go for post-wedding lunch with the family? He said, no. I need to see you. He went to the pastor's office. He said, I don't think I will marry this girl. They just, I can mention the name of the church. Hey. You think you are smart? You think you are smart? You have not brought anything into the church. You want to harvest from here? Then you are a thief. If I put my hand into this bag and I take money, I'm a thief. I have not put money in it. Where I have put money is where I can take money from. You cannot harvest anybody, a house help, a driver, a worker, a wife, a husband, a child. You can't. He said, I want to end the marriage. The pastor was blown away. He said, why? What? Are you joking? I'm serious. Why? Is your wife aware of this? I said, no. And he ended the marriage. Because he said, the night, because you see, the girl had told him that she's a virgin. And there's nothing, not seeing anybody. But you see, listen, I should stop preaching. You should be very careful when you are very happy or very sad. Your judgment can be impaired. Apparently, that night, she was super happy that she's got a husband. So she was herself. And the brother told the pastor, he said, I've not slept. He said, Pastor, in the bedroom. He said, I was a bad boy. You know me, Pastor. I was a bad boy. So I know my people. What she did in the room. I thought I was going to be like that. Then he gave another sign, which I can't talk about. He said, no, she has lied to me. There's more to this girl. Hey! I'm sure at a point she did this. I said, come now, come again, come for round 7. Hey! Yes. You are a bad boy, that's fine. But when you come into that, look, everything we need should be here. This is our nation. This is our kingdom. This is our country. Our roads, our water, our carpenter, our seamstress. From here, believe me. But if you've brought nobody here, that's why the last words of Jesus were, go! Go. Go. Go and bring them. Go. Don't stay. Don't stay. Look, even if you read a little history, you did a little history. The wealthy nations of this world, the European nations, the Europes, the Americas, how did they get their money? How did they get their money? I even thought that Saudi Arabia's money was from the oil. Apparently, it's just investments. People's investment. The wealthy nations of this country, they got their money from going to far places. Nature forbids you to be rich sitting down. You will get, even in the house, the woman who goes to town to work is richer than the woman who sits at home. Your well-being is in going. That's why a church cannot be measured by its seating capacity, but by its sending capacity. Go. Why should you go? You must go because everything I have for you is in you going. Like the wealth of Spain, the wealth of England, the wealth of a country which majors in flowers. 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 Tulips. How? Can you imagine, even as a pastor, I don't know of anybody who has sold his house and brought the money. And this is 21st century, where the wealth is advancing and increasing. I don't know anybody in all the churches who has sold a house and brought the money that this is the money. I've not seen some. But in the book of Acts, 2,000 years ago, people sold houses. So they didn't lack poor people. They didn't lack rich people. They didn't lack anybody because they they went out and brought people in. My dear friend, if God says you should build an ark and fill it with animals, it means that there is something in it for you. Solomon, when he prayed at the dedication of the temple, he raised his hand and he said, God, the heavens and the earth cannot contain you. How much more this temple we have built? The heavens. You are too big for the heavens. So when we build a center, it cannot be that it is a place for God. I mean, there must be another reason for building a center than a center being for. It's for you. If the heavens cannot contain God, then a 60 meters by 30 meter cathedral contains which God? God made the church from Acts. Listen to me. From the book of Acts, the church has always been a place where people's needs were met. From the book of Acts, money, food, even the bread they ate. The bread they ate, it was communal. I said, from the book of Acts, the church has always been a place to meet the needs of the people. It's not for no God. Which God? God needs what here? The kind of worship God needs. It's not this 2x4 singing we have on the stage. Which God? He brings us together as a koinonia. There's a word called koinos, from which we get koinonia. Koinos is common. The Greek word for koinos, for common, is koinos. From which we get another Greek word, koinonia, communion or fellowship. But the root of koinonia is koinos. Sorry for taking you through Greek, but I need to make a point. The word is common. Common. That is in the church. Everything is for everybody, but it's not true. If, like when in school, we say contribution, no contribution. I don't know whether you went to a Ghanaian school. There's something called NCNC. No contribution. You didn't go to a good school. These elite British schools didn't help you. Proper school, you are going to school, you don't just take pen and paper and books. You go with a special spoon. It's a small ladle. You don't have it, you'll be hungry and come home. It's always in your pocket. You are moving and looking at. You find it, you just bring out. It's not a spoon, it's a ladle. But the title of the meal, the theme, is no contribution, no chop. You bring gari, I bring milk, you bring the bowl, you bring sugar, you bring water. But as we are eating, it's a koinos. What we are eating, you don't bring something. I can't bring gari and you should expect to eat it. The animals Noah went to catch. I'm sure you know he ate some. He must have had some goat soup. He must have had some chicken sausage. Imagine if there was no animal. You will never forget this message. Because one day you will remember me. You see my face now? I'm telling you, you will stand at a place needing something. And you pick your phone. You scroll, and there's no one to call. There are names on your phone, but I'm preaching. There's no one to call. But somebody also goes through something. She picks her phone. Too many people. Because one of her church members knows that specialist. So she calls us and says, My pastor needs this. I can tell you, as I stand here, what I have just said, that I can give you 10 people who took their phones and found somebody who met their needs. One day, somebody came to me. She said, she had a fire certificate. You know, fire certificate? She's overseeing a big shop, a big company, and they are part of the fire things. Yeah. And she's gone there. In fact, she had come that Sunday to close early to go and see somebody. She's been chasing the fire certificate, getting someone to go and help. It's a fire certificate? For how long? It's over 6 months. Really? I took my phone. I called. That's the man I called. The man there. He's a top fire service official. I called him. Which church were you in at that time? Social welfare. I said, come to my office. I want to see you. Did he come? Did he come? I said, do you see this lady? She needs a fire certificate. She needs to get a training center. So whatever she needs, please. Because nature does not allow you to harvest from a place you have not put any seed. On the 8th of November, 2 weeks time, exactly 2 weeks from today, we are going to fill this place with animals, quote unquote. We are going to fill this place. That day, on the 8th of November, people will be sitting on the stage. There will be no room. But remember, on that day, you will not bring anybody because I know you. But it's okay. We will have a service and life will go on. But what you don't know is that you have deprived yourself a future blessing that should have inured to you if you had also put your hand on the plow. On the 8th of November, believe God for once that you will bring. And it's not just 8th of November. Every 2 months. Every 2 months. How many months? Are you a member of this church? Every 2 months. The next one will be January, God willing. The next one will be March, God willing. The next one will be what? May, and on. Every 2 months. The first Sunday is a big one. This time, because of the time, we are using the second Sunday. You are free. You are free. You can even forget that it's a Sunday and be home. But remember, a day will come. You will stand alone. Because when Jesus told them to go, it was his provision. Read it. Look at it. Matthew 28. Look at it. Go. Go. Look at verse 20. Next verse. When you go, teach them. And lo, I am with you, even to the end of the world. Jesus' presence with you is based on how much going you go. If you don't go, he will not be with you. And may you not stand alone in your life. On the 8th of November, next 2 weeks, choirs, basontes, centers. From today to the 8th, we are falling into the forest. We are catching the tigers. Did Noah catch a tiger? I don't know, but is it possible he caught a lion? Did Noah catch a lion? If Noah caught a lion, then you can catch a human lion. No matter how wild, you are anointed to bring weed smokers, drunkards, wild boys. That day, we should see wild faces and be afraid. And we also say, did he bring doves? That day, we see cool girls, calm boys, tender boys, tender girls. That will see wild highness. Some of you will be anointed to catch snakes. Amen. Human snakes. I said on the 8th of November, this place will be a practical spiritual zoo. And it's just a little bit more. God has done so much for you, mommy. If he tells you to go and bring one soul to him, he's done a lot for you. He's done a lot for you. I know there are some things he has not done. I know that. But what he has done, one pastor said, if God doesn't do anything again, he has tried. Remember what he has done. Remember, I'm saying today that a day will come. You will have. Did Noah have a house when he was building the ark? But you know that there was a time that house couldn't be lived in. There's a time. It's only the ark you build for God that will house you and your family and your children. There's a time you will have money, but there's a certain input the church will give you that money cannot buy. And on the 8th, next 2 weeks, I said, today, when we close, begin. Bring 2, bring 3. Centers are gathering. Centers are gathering. Everybody is gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, God is calling you. And he's saying to you, he needs you. He needs you. He needs you to use you to help yourself. He needs you to use you to minister to you. If you say no, you will have nothing. And God will not be blamed. On the 8th of November, it's not for shepherds alone. It's not for pastors. Today, 18, 16, 15-year-olds are doing outreaches, inviting people to watch pornography. Yes. They have watch party, pornography watch parties on Facebook. Yes. Watch parties. You get something that is wild. You just set up a watch party, you invite your friends. It's a group. It's a group. If 14-year-olds can have watch parties, then you can also win a soul. You can also bring someone to church. And one day, yesterday, a woman called me. And when we finished chatting, I was with somebody. And I told her that, do you remember the story I tell about the parents of somebody who paid my fees, my A-level examination fees? Say yes. That's the mother. I almost didn't write A-level because the closing date was on a Tuesday and I had no money. For ABC reasons, there was no money to register. Advance, and I was one of the best students. On Saturday, I was with my roommates and talking about how I was going to get money. I didn't know how I was going to pay the registration fee for WAEC. But my small boy was in the room.